everybody? Welcome to another Horror Franchise Wednesday. Let's end this review series with Critters Attack! Exclamation point. Like Mars Attack, although not as fun. I was not into this movie. Yeah. It irritated me more than made me entertained. So, those are my overall thoughts. If you want like a quick yes or no, no. Just watch Critters 1, watch Critters 2. Far better. This is a low budget, straight to DVD horror comedy with lots of drama, just like part 3, and lots of issues I will get into. So, quick plot synopsis. This movie tells a story about the critters crashing into Earth. We got this girl who is trying to get into college. She works at a sushi place, but she keeps getting rejected by this college. Goes to drop off sushi at the college. Gets reconnected with one of her old friends who got accepted there. And then she gets her like a babysitting gig that might help her get into that college. So she's babysitting these kids. And then the critters are attacking. And therefore she has to fight the critters and winds up at the college again to fight the critters there. Meanwhile, you got Dee Wallace, the main actress from the original movie. Not a spoiler, it's on the back as a picture, and I think most people know that by now. She's in here, she's a bounty hunter, although this is a whole different universe. This movie is not a sequel, I think it is a reboot. It's like a remake, it's a whole different universe. It's Dee Wallace, but she's playing a whole different character. Her name is Aunt Dee. Who's she the aunt of? We don't know. So, now let's get into the things that I liked about this movie. Is that I like that they finally brought it back after 3 and 4 having like 1 or 2 critters. They brought it back to the formula of like 1 and 2 where there was multiple critters, especially part 2, which has the most. This one is about on par with part 2 with the amount of critters. There's a lot of them. They get plenty of screen time sprinkled throughout the runtime, and it's not that long of a movie. It's like 80 minutes. So I like that there's a lot of them and that they actually get a lot of screen time, because after you watch 3 and 4, when you get to this one, it's like, thank you. More critters. That's what we're here to see, because I don't know why in 3 and 4 they have like 5 minutes of screen time. But here, there's an abundance of them. There's a lot of them, and there's even like little moments that are like homages to like part 1 and 2, like lines of dialogue, like kill Kreitz, stuff like that I liked. Little references to better films. And I love that they brought back the critter ball, but just like in part 2, they underutilize it. So it's like some of my positives have negatives attached to them, but I love that they brought it back. That was like the one moment in this whole movie where I was like, yes, finally something that is great, because I was not enjoying this movie. But that critter ball, thank you for bringing that back. And there's some good critter gore and critter effects, like when the critters are being killed, their green blood spraying everywhere, getting sliced down the middle, heads getting shot off and chopped off. Good critter gore and critter effects, just like all the other ones. I thought they were all on par with each other. They were consistent. This one, they look different, slightly, but the critter effects, like I said, just good stuff. So, and the critter gore. And I like that they introduced like this queen critter. She's basically like Mogwai, the good gremlins, in the Gremlin franchise, where you have like Mogwai, I think that's the name. So it's like taking elements from that movie and putting it here. We got the good one that's going to take out all the bad ones. And so I like that we got that introduced here. So it's just something to kind of make it stand out, something different. And this one, compared to 3 and 4, is bigger in budget and quality, and like it's a much better made movie than 3 and 4. I have to compare this to the other 2 movies to give this movie positives. As you can tell, that's the only way I can give positives for this movie, is by saying, hey, at least it's not like 3 and 4. It feels bigger, looks better, but as its own thing, it's not a good movie to me. The comedy was not working. A lot of things weren't working. I'll save that. But yeah, those are really only my positives, is that you compare this to 3 and 4, much better. Feels bigger in scope than those movies. A lot more critters, good critter gore. And so yeah, my mixed thought on this movie is Dee Wallace. I love that they brought her back, but I'm questioning why she came back for this one and not Critters 2 or 3, but especially Critters 2. Why didn't she come back? She came back for this. Did she read the script and was like, I'm sold. I'll finally come back. Why? Why did she come back for this one? That just kind of irritates me that she didn't come back for part two. Why this one? But it's nice to see her. It's nice to have a familiar face come back from the original, but they don't use her character as much as I would have liked. Like she has like 3 scenes maybe, her introduction, she comes in one scene to kill one critter at one place, and then again towards the very end. Just very quick stuff. Not a whole lot of lines from her. She probably has like maybe a couple of lines in the movie. But yeah, just nice to see her, but not cool that this is a whole different universe. It's a whole different Dee Wallace. It's confusing. It's like, is it like a bounty hunter who took her appearance? Like, because that's established in the first two that whoever they see, they can take their look. But Ugg and Lee are dead at this point. They died in part 4. So if this is continuing after that, they would be dead. They're the only bounty hunters that know about Dee Wallace. So yeah, this is probably just a whole different universe, like I said. So it's a whole different Helen, because that was her name in Critters 1. This chick, she says her name is Aunt D. So yeah, this is like a reboot. Now, as for the things I did not like about this movie, the first act of this movie was kind of slow. I was just kind of like, all right, let's just get to the critters, because I'm not liking these characters. They're not like unlikable, but they're just whatever. And the first act was extra slow and extra painful for me to get through because of all the drama that really amounts to nothing or isn't really necessary in the end. And 2, the cringy comedy in this movie is so awful. It's just so bad. Like it's trying so hard to be funny, it's failing. That's just like very lowbrow shit. Just some guy getting like owl shit on his face. That's supposed to be funny. And then I trying to think of other. See, I can't really think of all the jokes in this movie because they all sucked. Some bagpipe playing guy, yeah, like that was supposed to be funny. It's just like cringy shit. It's so dumb. It just was not working for me. It's like, oh god, please, let's move on. And the whole like, this movie has a very unrelenting score. Like it's just constantly playing. It's just there's not a moment in this movie where the score is not like in the background. And it's got all this like melodramatic piano stuff during all the drama. It just feels so like cheap and lazy. The acting in the movie is pretty amateurish. It's fine in some moments, but overall, like when they have to be like scared or they're screaming and stuff like that, it's just like it's very amateurish. I didn't really care about any of the performances, and there's a couple of jump scares, like 1 or 2, where they got the music playing. It's like we don't need that. And this movie is rated R. It's the only one that's rated R, and it just does not go for it. It could have just been PG-13. All right, just make it PG-13 like the other ones, because when you make it R and you don't go for it, it just pisses me off even more. They make it R and you get like no gore. There's like little moments, just a second here or there, where it's like, oh, some blood, like cool. Like there's even like an alien moment where like the critters are in this guy's chest and they start like popping out. It's like, oh, that was the only moment of gore. I was like, oh, that's cool. But man, everything is just cutaway, cutaway, cutaway. And the critters in this movie are way stronger than they've ever been before. They're like dragging people off screen just to kill them. And it's a very uneven tone. Like, I prefer a movie to just pick a lane and stick with it. But this movie is drunk behind a wheel, changing lanes the entire fucking time. Just like, all right, we're very serious. We're a drama. It's, oh, my mom died and I think it's my fault. And then it's fucking corny as shit and just eye-rolly and cringy and silly as hell and not landing for me. And then it just goes back to serious drama. Like, amidst chaos, they'll just start talking about personal life drama bullshit. It's like, save that conversation for later. We got things to deal with here besides your drama and how much you hate your friend for getting accepted to a college that you didn't get accepted to. Just drama in weird spots that didn't need to be there. There's characters that don't really take death seriously. There's things that go nowhere, just throwaway characters thrown into the movie where they die in the scene they're introduced or the next scene after. Just throwaway characters again and again. Like, oh, here's this YouTuber, he's dead. Here's these park rangers, they're dead. Here's this guy who plays accordions, oh, he's dead. Or the bagpipes, whatever instrument he plays. Just like all these throwaway characters. It's like, come on, let's just focus on Dee Wallace. Let's just get more of her. Like, I'm sure it was the budget that kept her screen time limited. But yeah, just so many things were just irritating the piss out of me. Like, I would have preferred to just see the sushi guy getting vengeance for his dead nephew. That went nowhere. He gets vengeance on one critter, and then they cut away from him, and we never see him again. Like, he was just written into the film to provide like this exit vehicle for the main characters. They didn't need that vehicle. You could have just wrote their vehicle they already had before to not break down, and they never would have needed this character. It's just bad writing. I just did not like this movie almost at all. I was bored. The critter stuff is not even original. It's just the same shit before. They brought back the critter ball. Critter ball, I like that. But again, they don't do much with that. And they roll over one person, just like in Critters 2, except in Critters 2, we actually get to see that person completely chewed up and to the bone. In this one, it's cutaway. So, more shit to piss me off. And the ending is probably the most abrupt ending I've ever seen in my life. Like, it shocked me when it ended. I was like, whoa. Yeah, I don't want to talk about this movie much longer, but I guess I have to if I'm going to go into my spoiler discussion. But final thoughts before I get into the spoilers. This movie is just disappointing. Very disappointing. I do not recommend it to any Critters fan. Just watch the first one. Watch the second one if you like more comedy in your PG-13 horrors and comedy movies, because the first one had a good even blend of horror and comedy. Second one, way more comedy, and it knew what it was. This one has like an identity crisis where it doesn't know what the fuck it is. It's very dramatic in moments, and then very corny in other moments. It just kind of keeps going in between, and the characters are not memorable. They're just very throwaway, a lot of them, and just things that go nowhere. The critters don't do anything different here. They don't even speak, and they use their needles once, and the needles don't even have side effects no more. So it's like they just threw the needles into the movie because they felt like they had to. It's like, oh, let's just throw in this one scene where they finally use it, but we won't keep the continuity going with how those needles work and what they do. We'll just throw it. It's like just so many things that were just irritating me about this movie. I almost want to put it dead last in my ranking, but that wouldn't be fair because it is technically a better made movie than Part 3 especially. So when it comes to Critters Attack, comparing this to the rest of the franchise, yes, it's better than 3 and 4. It's got more critters. It's silly. Maybe this tone will work for you, but for me personally, I would just watch the first two because this one is wasted time. Alright, time for the spoiler discussion. So we open up with a kill. Meteor, whatever, crashes into the earth. We got the sushi guy. He goes out, sees it, and then he gets dragged off camera. So we immediately know that these critters are stronger than they've ever been before. Because these things are so small. There's no way that they would... There's just no fucking way. And then we meet the sheriff uncle. And he's a secret alcoholic. He's always sneaking drinks. We see this old cat lady, and then we find out the old cat lady is Dee Wallace, and she's got like all this fancy high-tech shit in this secret room in her house, and we don't know what her name is, and it's confusing as fuck at first. You're like, okay, so where's her kids? Where's all the other people? And then it's like at the very end, she finally says her name, like, I'm Aunt Dee, and it's like, oh, so this is a different universe. This is a completely different Dee Wallace character. And so then the eggs, they hatch in like the sushi guy's chest, which is like the only good gory moment in the movie. After that, it's all downhill from there. And then we see the geeky guard, and just who would hire this guy to be a security guard at any college, looking the way he looks in his clearly Spirit Halloween security guard outfit. Oh, did you listen to my Bagpipes mixtape? Does this guy really think he's gonna get laid that way? It's just so, eye-rolly. And then, so she meets her old friend at the college, her dream college, and her dream college doesn't even have elevators, so it's not that great of a place. Well, we need to go up 2 more flights of stairs. It's like, this is your dream college, and they don't even have elevators? This place ain't that fancy. It ain't that great. It doesn't even have a fucking elevator. Maybe that's on purpose to keep those students in shape. Anyways, this YouTuber gets killed. Like, he gets introduced, and then the next scene he's just dead. Like, very lame setups to these kills. Like, it's just like, And these kill scenes are not funny. They're not set up to be like these hilarious deaths or anything. One, just one. But maybe two, who knows. But this, like the way these death scenes play out, the sushi guy, this YouTube camper, it's very like serious. Like the score, the way it plays out, it's like a traditional slasher movie. It's like, who's out there? In the fog, the atmosphere, and then boom, gets dragged off camera and dies. So it's taking itself serious here, and then it's like stupid, serious, stupid, just hills and valleys in this movie. It's just, oh my gosh. So, and then we see these three rangers. This one ranger has a hard on for an owl and then gets shit on. I've never been shit on by a bird, thankfully, because I would get so pissed off that I would probably get superpowers in the moment to jump up real high, grab the bird, and snap its neck off, because that's how powerful my rage can be. But I do know someone who's been shit on by a bird, my sister, at an amusement park, I think Disneyland. She got shit right on the head. So that's what this movie made me think of immediately when I saw this guy get shit on. I was like, haha, my sister met that same fate. Not me. Fingers crossed. That never happens. So these three rangers get killed, all three of them, off camera. But one of them, he's like in this outdoor shower because wiping the shit off your face with a towel ain't gonna cut it. You gotta wash the entire body. So he's in the shower. He mistakes the critter for the loofah, and then the critter like bites his face off. Blood sprays on the shower curtain, and they make a mention of 1986. I felt like this was a very subtle wink to just the year that the first Critters came out. This chick's like, what is this, 1986? I was like, oh, that just so happens to be the year Critters 1 came out. Nice. And so they're walking through the forest, and they find a queen critter, and their reaction to it is like, oh, it's like a squirrel. Like, that's their reaction to it. They're not like, what the fuck is that? And they don't like run the other direction or freak out like they should. And it's supposed to be like adorable or something, but it looks anything but. It looks weird as hell. I would not find that thing adorable if I met it in real life. I would run the other way. But they just put it in their backpack, they take it home, and then we get the whole retread of the critters burping bubbles after they eat soap, just like in the second movie. And then the critter rolls through a metal trunk. See, they're strong in this one. This critter rolls into the trunk of the car, bursts right through it. But then for some reason it's stuck in that trunk throughout like the rest of the movie and just can't get out. And the hole he left going in is smaller than his body. It makes no sense. And then they take out the cell tower, which is again something we kind of saw in Critters 2. And then Jake, the mute kid who isn't mute, he just doesn't speak much, he gets bit and then finally starts like making noise. He screams, and his scream is very pathetic and fake. And they name the good critter Bianca, and Bianca kills that critter. She's a badass, and she has like these CGI looking claws that come out at the end. Her eyes turn red like she's Chucky in a Child's Play remake. And they try to convince the sheriff, that who's their uncle, that aliens are real, and they have the best evidence you could ever give to someone in their backpack, but they just keep it in the backpack, and they go, just look at this picture that we took of red glowing eyes in the trunk. This will make you a firm believer for sure. Why wouldn't you just show him the fucking Bianca thing in your backpack? That scene made no fucking sense. These decisions were just, what? Like, you got the best evidence in the world right over there, and you're going to show him some stupid fucking photo on your phone of red glowing eyes that you could have easily photoshopped. You got living evidence in your backpack. So stupid. And Dee kills a critter with a space gun. I'm not sure where she got the space gun from, unless she is an alien bounty hunter. Anyways, so this 12-year-old, the main chick's brother, is very tall for a 12-year-old. I wish I was that tall. And we get like this very brief attack outside the sushi place, and then her dad finds out, or her uncle finds out the weakness. Something we've never gotten before is a weakness. In this one, they're weak to like loud sounds. It makes their heads explode. Kind of like in Mars Attack, all the aliens, their heads explode when they listen to that one bad song. Kind of reminded me of that. And he just so conveniently crashes his car right in front of the sushi place and conveniently lives long enough to give out this important information before he takes his last breath. Like, here's the weakness and how you kill them. Kind of like in Leprechaun when the guy falls through the elevator and he tells Jennifer Aniston, like, here's how you kill the leprechaun. Such convenient writing. So, and then, but when the sheriff dies, there's this another dramatic moment where they're just talking about, like, it's because of me that your mom died, and she's, like, been blaming herself the whole time. And then when the sheriff dies, her uncle, her response to that isn't crying, it's looking into, like, off in the distance and very dramatically going, you bastards. There's no emotion for this, but, like, death means nothing. Like, this other chick finds out that her boyfriend is dead, and her reaction to that is just like, oh, okay, well, get on this golf cart, we need to go over here. Who gives a shit? She finds out the weakness, like I said, and it's apparently, like, trying to remember the algorithms to a Rubik's Cube to her. No wonder she can't get accepted into this college. She's a moron who forgets all kinds of things. She's like, oh my gosh, okay, so high frequencies. Okay, I'm not going to be able to remember this. Okay, hey brother, you need to remember this for me because there's no way I'm going to remember it. You need to remember that high frequencies are their weakness. Okay, remember that an hour from now when I need to remember. So fucking dumb. And what makes that even more dumb is that she actually does forget. Like, an hour or two later, they're at the college and they see an air horn, and then the brother sees it. Like, she sees it, ignores it. The brother sees it and is like, oh yeah, remember? High frequencies. And she's like, oh yeah, thank you for reminding me. How could you forget that? It's such basic shit. And then, yeah, so then the Asian guy goes on this very quick, brief killing spree to have revenge on for his nephew, and that whole subplot just gets cut short. Bye-bye to him. We never see him again. And so then the bagpipes guy is dead, and somehow when a critter's biting on the bagpipe, it's like playing the music professionally, which makes no sense, but it's kind of funny. That's like the only good joke in the movie, I guess. And there's more drama between her and her old friend. Like, they're just bickering about, like, when you got accepted, you stopped texting me back, blah, blah, blah. It's like, is this really important? There's a giant critter ball out there. People are dying. People are being attacked left and right. And now it's all about, like, why didn't you respond to my text after you got accepted into my dream college? How dare you? Is it supposed to be funny, the fact that that's happening? To me, it's just drama. It's not funny. I did find it kind of funny that this throwaway character with, who just takes his shirt off, to show his, like, six-pack or whatnot, he's, like, establishing how fast of a runner he is. He's like, I'm fast, I'll be back in a flash, runs out, and then immediately he starts running away from the ball and gets ran over because he's not fast enough. So I guess that was the irony there. But yeah, we don't get to see him actually die. No one else is dying trope. I hate that in movies. Like, no one else is dying on my watch. More people are going to die. It's not up to you. You can't control that. And so she gets the air horn. She starts blowing it. A couple of critters are getting their heads blown off because of the frequency. And then it runs out of juice, out of air. Doesn't work no more. And then we get this football field, like, montage fight where they're just killing critters left and right easily to the point where it's like, how did these other people in the background just running around getting eaten, how did they not fight back? They make it look so easy that you just question how everyone else got killed. So why didn't they just pull the fire alarm? They knew what the weakness was at that point when they were in the college. And they were in the college, too, some of them. That would have been a genius move. Pull the fire alarm. We've all been there, when the fire alarm went off at school and you had to, like, close your fucking ears as you were walking out because it's loud. If it drives humans mad, imagine what it's going to do to the critters. Their heads are going to explode immediately as soon as you pull that fucker. And so after that, okay, what the fuck was this? This made no sense. Her thought process. Okay, so Dee Wallace comes into the picture finally. She meets up with the main group. She kills one of the critters that was about to attack them, saves their life. They all get their weapons again, and then the main chick's like, I think her name's Drea. She's like, 5-on-1, we can take this bitch. Like, Dee Wallace is like the enemy? She just saved you. What made her think that she was another threat? She's not a critter. She's just a chick with a gun looking like Sarah Connor. And I don't get that at all. We can take this, bitch. Yeah. So then they finally start using their damn needles, but they have no effect at all, so it's pointless to have them in the film if they're not going to incapacitate them like they did in the first one. And the one brother just leaves it in his neck the whole time. I guess it's just supposed to be funny. And then there's more talk about life problems, and the brother and his love interest, this chick that his sister is babysitting, that he's in love with, goes nowhere. They don't like kiss at the end. They don't like get together. It's not important. And so then they shoot the critter ball, and for some reason they gotta do like a 3-second countdown. It's like, it's a huge target. It doesn't need to get closer and closer and closer to you before you shoot it. It's like, how about we just both fucking shoot it and then it'll explode, which is what they do. 3, 2, 1, kill Kreitz! And they shoot it, boom, whole thing blows up. Like, I guess it's futuristic technology, so I guess it makes sense. But if that was a real gun, I'm not sure how they all blew up from one blast. But they all blow up. Easy peasy. They're gone. They're dead. Just like in part 2. Lackluster. This is extremely lackluster. And then it's over. Just like, that's the last thing. Right? But before the credits roll, we get the main brother who says, "See, I told you aliens were real." It's like, now? Now you bring that up? There wasn't any opportunity before that, like when you first saw the aliens, to bring that up. Like, see, I told you.
I told you aliens are real.
It was just such a weird time to finally bring that up. Like, okay, now that the dust has settled and they're all dead, I told you so. So yeah, that's the end of Critters. Whew. I don't know. Just probably could go up on a rewatch, seeing as how I know what to expect now. But I don't see myself revisiting this movie in at least 10 years. I was not crazy about it. So the clap reward for best scene in this movie is the football scene towards the end where they're fighting all the critters and they're just getting their heads shot off by Dee Wallace and all that fun stuff. That was the funnest moment of the film. And I have no Mr. Hattertwig awards because they all fucking suck. Every kill sucked. So if there was one that pissed me off the most, it was the critter ball kill, because I wanted them to show me the gore. Why would you make this rated R and not utilize that? It's just so stupid. I'll never get that. So those are my thoughts on this movie. I'm done with the Critters franchise. Look forward to my Critters ranking coming very soon. And if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, hit this like button and share it with all your friends and become a subscriber today just by clicking on my cartoon face in about 5 seconds. And until next time, auf Wiedersehen.